And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And I'm Steve.
What's up, Steve?
This is Shutdown Week, darker side of life, mental health. We're really like focusing more on mental health and you know, the different ways that it affects us and how it comes out in the music that we all love. So there you are. For timely, topical, political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Without further ado, this is Chevelle, Saferwaters. Let's go.
Okay.
whoever knows, nobody knows.
Chevelle, ladies and gentlemen. I'm surprised, De Herrera, that you are a Chevelle fan. Because
I love Chevelle, man.
I don't think there's like 4 songs I'm listening to on rotation now, and there's Letter from a Thief. I don't know if you're familiar with that song.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, love that song.
That song reminds me of my mom. And then the one that we can feed on shame all day. The Mexican Sun, I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
That middle part, I love it. She laughs at it. Okay, so what's going on with the song, bro? What's the deal?
So the song was written about family, actually. The band had a falling out. It used to be 3 brothers. They kicked the little brother out. So the little brother got the boot, kind of. Not kind of, he did. And so this song is a lot about their situation with that, but how it relates is it's told from the stance of a misanthrope, which is somebody who hates society.
Yeah.
Somebody who's angry at society, I guess. And so
Is it?
Yeah, there's a lot in the song.
Is it told from his perspective?
It's told, I believe, from the brother's perspective. It's kind of like how he views the world, so to speak. So in the beginning, he's talking about why she'd roll the eyes back, why he'd roll those eyes, right? I think she is society, and rolling the eyes is kind of the metaphor for disregarding somebody, you know, like how you roll your eyes at somebody who says something stupid, kind of. But the song talks about, you know, going, you know, mocking the place where I exist, right? It's like mocking who I am or my values. And I have a lot of contention with a lot of societal norms. Anybody who's had a Facebook conversation with me would know that. I mean, you can go back some of our discussions, you know. I have a very, almost an outdated view of how people should be or how society should be. And I mean, I get, you know, there's a lot of facets to society. There's a lot of working parts, so there's no simple solution. But
what's like a big one that you don't agree with society on?
Personal responsibility. I think everybody has their own struggles. Everybody has their own problems, their own hangups, their own hurdles, right? But we've evolved into society where we've got to feel sorry for everybody and everybody's hangup and everybody's struggle. And I mean, race is a big one right now. Like there's been, you know, terrible things done in the name of race, but not just to one demographic and not just in this country. That's kind of human nature, right? It's like we other people. It's like me, not like me. It's kind of a simplistic way of looking at the world. And so when we attack things based on I guess a pinpoint demographic, it really it shooks the responsibility from the person to I guess playing the blame game, right? It's like it's your fault I have a problem, it's your fault I can't achieve, it's your fault, you know. How many we hear about, you know, the 1%, the rich, right, all the time. And I don't want to make this totally political, but these are just low-hanging fruit, right? We hear about it all the time, and you know, you hear arguments like, oh well, if I had, you know, $1 billion, I could keep it too. Like maybe not. Like I don't know. I've never had $1 billion. I have no idea what that struggle's like. You know, you know, you don't know what it's like to be a Hispanic American in, you know, Colorado. I don't know what it's like to be a mixed couple in Maine. You know, like we all have our things, and so I think a biggest one for me is taking that personal responsibility. Like, yeah, like there are things that I come up against that maybe structural, maybe systemic, you know, but it's up to me to get over that. It's not up to me to whine and cry and make everybody else feel sorry for me. So then I get what I want. I get the outcome I want without putting in the effort to get it. Right.
So it says why he'd roll those heartless eyes. It says heartless eyes, you know, and Jesus says like the eyes of limited. So
yeah,
like, do people generally respond to you that way, that you're heartless, that you don't have any, like, would you say that you have no compassion for people, or are you just misunderstood?
I definitely think I'm misunderstood. I think I get to a point where compassion dies for sure, but I think I'm a very compassionate person, but I think it's my values that are misunderstood. Again, personal responsibility, right? Like, teach a man to fish, give a man a fish. Like, I'm more for teaching somebody. So my compassion comes from showing you how to overcome your own obstacle instead of just giving you the results you want. People see that as heartless because it takes effort on your part to want to get there. You know, you've got to put in the effort, you got to put in the work to do it. And people don't want to, or that's generalizing. I should say people seemingly don't want to. And that's hard for me to deal with that, because I don't understand mentality, because I'm a fairly obstinate person. Like, I will go against things just out of spite. You know, like, if you tell me I can't go climb that thing, I'll kill myself climbing that thing just to prove you wrong, because, you know, I don't want to be considered less than. And I mean, that's a hang up of mine, but that's my drive, that's my motivation. You know, tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna go above and beyond to do it just to prove you wrong.
I believe it, because remember we were having all those problems with Johan, and he was always like on Johan's side.
Yeah, he was always listen to that.
He kept saying, I was like him when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I'm like, my
Lord. He was the head of the free Johan.
Yes.
That's one of the things where I was like, because you said some grimy shit, bro. Like on in Firesides and on Facebook, and people like, yo, you heard this guy said? I'm like, yeah, but that's the same guy that sent Johan those books, and the books helped him.
Oh yeah,
like, I don't know if people remember in the channel, like, we had a good 3-month stretch where this brother was literally in trouble every single day.
Oh,
is that exaggeration?
Oh no, it's not an exaggeration.
And then he got those books from Steve, and that was one of the things that gave us a reprieve to where we could actually talk to him without him getting
Were those
in
the military ones? Like,
yeah,
for kids?
The Jocko Willing stuff.
Yeah, that's the ones you sent, Steve?
No, I sent him, like,
I know you sent him a notebook where you had drawn that picture.
Yeah, and like an art book. It was an art book, and then I sent him, God, what else? Like, some little stuff.
I think
you sent him a package of stuff.
Yeah.
And some stuff. I don't remember what it all was, to be honest, but I don't want to take the credit for somebody else's if it wasn't mine.
Oh, you sent, there was a cartoon, it was a kid's book or whatever, but it was from Jocko Willing.
Is that familiar to you? Have you ever read a book by Jocko?
It was like 2 years ago.
Oh,
my memory sucks. Like, I don't remember yesterday.
It was him. It was art stuff and everything. But
yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like, but then
I think he just needed someone like.
He needed somebody to root for him.
Yeah, because we were like so tired. Yeah. So that was a big.
I was tired of this shit. I
was waiting for my free Johan shirt forever, man. Never happened.
That's because we had no intention of freeing him.
Yeah, it's like I didn't want to exploit his suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man was in prison for quite some time.
Oh my word.
Yeah. So like, and you know, it's weird because like, I knew that these guys had some sort of family turmoil because a lot of their shit was about family turmoil, and they were all in a band together. And then one of them got. Yeah, and then one of them said like he took a break, and then they were basically said don't come back. So they basically kicked him out. But he's like, I was on a break, and you know whatever. Shout out to Ross. Nobody knows who that is from. If you know where that reference works, send me an email. I'll send you a shirt. That you'd have to be pretty up on your. But anyway, but it's funny because I was this person in my family system. So I was the hard one. I was the mean one. I was always saying bad things. You know, we had a, you know, person in the house that was struggling with a lot of mental illness issues, and people were like, come on, you know, she's mentally. I was like, I don't go. So they're making my life a living hell. They need to suck it up and stop making life horrible for all of us. You know, and now it's funny because now, like, I'm the one that's like, well, they have a mental illness, and you're like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah, but it can't be an excuse for everything. Like, when is the person going to be held accountable?
Well, again, and that's the difference. There's an excuse and there's an explanation. So you're looking at it as an excuse. I'm looking at it like an explanation. But it's funny because the world is calling, so I'm crawling back to sea against the surge. So he's talking about, like, you'd say, for I came from a fish. Right? Like,
say,
so that's like, you'd say, for I came from a fish.
Oh my word. When he did that part of the song, I thought he was saying, the person was saying they came just for a fish. Like, that's all they wanted.
No, I came from a fish, like evolution, right? Yeah. So like you came out of the primordial ooze and it died. You evolved, and he's saying the world is crawling, so I'm calling me back to my sea. So like he's reverting to who he was before he evolved into a good person or whatever. Like, so he's like, he's almost like surrendering to like the darker side of his nature. And so that's the explanation for why he's out of the band.
I love the line when he said, held us with that ancient grip beneath. Ancient grip beneath. I don't know. I just like that.
Yeah, because I think sometimes like families have like generational issues.
Yeah.
But people feel comfortable with them. Like you get comfortable with that type of dysfunction. And sometimes it takes more energy to work out of your dysfunction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than to revert back to it, even if it's a destructive form of, you know, being this. But I've been called heartless so many times. Somebody called me heartless a week ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because of how I handle relationships. Like if we're cool, we're cool. And if the relationship is over, it's over. So I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to, you know, whatever. Like, it's done. And, and
well, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, but then like something comes up on the news and you're wrecked for days.
Yeah, something comes up in the news. Like, yeah, that's the thing.
So I have a hard time busting up relationships.
It doesn't mean that I'm heartless. It just means that I know that part of the relationship is over.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
It's like my thing is like I don't like pretending, and I always call it dragging around a dead body. Like if the relationship is over, like I'm not gonna go and pretend like me and you were good and blah blah. Like I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to do that.
Babe, are you crunching your feet on some paper or something?
Yeah, why do you care?
Okay, because as long as I know it's you, it sounds like a mouse or something.
Yeah, there's a mouse in here, bro. Yeah, so that's just how I am. Like, I don't know if it's to this moment, I don't know if it's heartless or not. You always look horrified every time it happens. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know.
That's because there are certain relationships that I've had to put my foot down on and say, okay, like, I can't be around you anymore because of this, and this thing, but it still breaks my heart to have to do that. Yeah. And you seem like it doesn't, like you're like, oh, it's time. Just stuff needs to move on.
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, have that horrified look is because I don't understand. Like I'm doing what needs to be done, but it's hard for me. And you seem like it's just easy for you.
Well, I'm not sure if what you're doing needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how it, you know, I'm being intentionally vague here, but for me personally, I don't know how you are with this, but like, I'm not talking about like having an argument or a disagreement with a friend and be like, oh, I'm not going to talk. No, it's not that. It's just like situation has happened, lines have been crossed, whatever. And the relationship is like, there's no way, like, you know, Draymond Green calls Kevin Durant a bitch on the court in front of everybody. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, Durant is now in New York now. Like, he's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's over. Like, I'm not a person who's going to be like, oh, okay, well, let's continue to drag around this dead body of our relationship when like lines, it's like, there's no way it's ever going to get back to the way that it was before. And so it's done. So like, I'm not going to blow you up on Facebook. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say anything to you.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say to you. But that doesn't
How are
mean,
you like with
that doesn't
stuff
mean
like
I
that,
hate
Steve?
you.
Are you like that? Like if a relationship has to be done, are you good to move, or what are you gonna do?
I think I could ride in the middle a little bit. Like I get both sides. I'm not a person who lets people in a lot. Like my circle is very small. So if you're outside of that circle, yeah, I cut ties and I don't care. I mean,
Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Go ahead.
I think I've lost relationships, I don't know, like one a week when it comes to like social media, right? I'll say something and somebody loses their mind, and I have no problem arguing my point. My thing is like I don't immediately go to like disrespect. I will challenge your idea.
Right.
But you fire on me like I'm this, that, and the other, that's free game. Like I've been holding back. I play by the rules, but as soon as you draw that line, game over, and I get savage, and I don't care. Because like,
but that's the difference for me. Like I won't do that. Like if you say some reckless dumb shit on Facebook, I won't even retaliate. Like it's not even worth it to me even to retaliate against you.
I mean, it's not just Facebook. I'll do it in person. Like I don't care. Like I'll get physical too. I'm like, I'm not trying to puff up my chest. I'm just saying like that's just me. Like it doesn't matter the platform. Like you cross that line, game on. Like I'll take the kitty gloves off. Like I don't care. But if you're in that circle, I have a hard time letting go of that because there was a lot of effort and a lot of time, a lot of things went into you gaining that trust, I guess. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna just nix that and not feel something about it later. Like
yeah,
I guess like a hole there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference between me and him. Like I just don't care.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to this moment. You're all looking at me all terrified and stuff. Does that scare you? Like, what's like? Why are you looking at me like that?
It gives me a feeling of like there's a giant hole deep into the ground and I don't know what's there. I know that's the only explanation I can think of. It's like
what a melodramatic.
I feel like it's unexplainable. I can't explain what's in this deep dark hole because I don't understand it. It's like it could be nothing down there. It could be more shallow than it looks. But like when you say stuff like that, like it is. And like the look on your face, you look completely convincing. And yet that's
convincing of what?
That you feel the way you're saying that you feel. Like I don't think that you're lying, but it's very hard for me to like my head can't wrap around that that's it.
Yeah. It's probably just moving around my
And
brothers.
the other thing too is when people like we had this thing the other day where you were like, why do you have to say that to that person? I'm like, because I need to be heard. And so then I messaged the person back and it turned into this big giant thing that honestly, I wish I never would have even wasted my time on. It literally was a waste. It just complicated everything even more. And I'm just like, ugh. So then from that perspective, I can see why just being quiet.
There's just certain relationships that talking it through, like your past talking it through. Like, I just don't think that there's like, when people do certain things, it's like, it's obvious that decisions have been made and there's no way to walk that back.
I know, but I always feel like if somebody is making a really horrible decision.
A conversation is not going to change it.
But I feel like if somebody's making a really bad decision, that they will, like, when you talk to them about it, they would be like, at some point, wake up and be like, wow, you know what?
Yeah, but they're thinking the same thing about you. They're thinking the same thing about you, though. Oh, my God. You know what I'm saying? So how do you balance it out to where who's really right or wrong in the scenario? Like, that's the big thing for me is like, I don't worry about who's right or wrong in the argument. To me, it's like, can you actually have a relationship with this person knowing this about that going forward? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you can, then great. You continue and you joust with them, do whatever you have to do to maintain the relationship. But if you can't, then it's done. Mm-hmm. And then to me, it's like you had good times with the person. Like I'm sure like the band or like they would say they had great times with their brother and it was great and they accomplished their dreams. Like they had good times. And then there were some times that were not so good and then he had to go. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't they replace him with somebody else in their family, basically, Steve?
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember who replaced him. I'd have to go back and look at that.
It's like one of the guys' husbands is now in the band instead of him. You know what I'm saying? They like replace him with a brother-in-law. So it's like, but I don't think that that's wrong. How is that wrong? The show has to go on.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I don't know why they split him off there anyway.
The city's saving grace. What do you think that means? The city's saving grace, Dave? I
think that goes back to what you talked about, that savage like retreat or regression, right? It's like the saving grace of society is to hold that back, right? To kind of push off the things that don't belong, so to speak. Society is built on a house of cards, as the saying goes. So, you know, it only functions when everybody buys into the idea.
Yeah. But whoever knows, nobody knows. There you go. Well, I mean, there it is. She's still horrified.
I am.
I mean, there you go. But like, I don't know. You'd have been a lot less stressed out if you'd have listened to me.
Yeah.
Because that to me, that's the thing. It's like, to me, I'm like, you're obviously not at that place with those two people. So you might as well just, you know what I'm saying?
I know. Well,
just do one or the other.
I made the wrong decision, and I'm very annoyed about it.
So am I. What do you give the song?
I loved the sound of it. I don't think that I would have like necessarily known what it meant.
Yeah, we need Steve for that.
Yeah. So, but I love the sound of it, and so I'm gonna go with 9.3.
This is a 9.8 to me because I related very well to it, even though I was probably relating well to the bad guy, quote unquote. But I was like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Look at you.
A little dark.
A little dark. I don't like to seem that dark to me. It's just like, hey, it's a, you know, he said, I won't pretend to lie. Like, I'm not going to pretend, you know, like that's my thing. It's like, I don't like to pretend about shit. Like people know exactly where they are with me. And that's the irony.
Better for worse.
Well, no, I don't think there can be a for worse. There's 8 billion. See, that's the other thing. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Like, if I'm not in somebody's life, I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay. Like, I think it's like the most like arrogant thing in the world. Like, oh my God, if Vin is not in my life, then my life, come on, bro. There's 8 billion freaking almost on the planet, bro. Like, really? That's some bullshit. Anyway, this is my guy.
What about you?
What about you?
What do I give? It's one of my favorite songs. It's definitely a high 9s. I'm not savvy on the point scale, so we'll call it a 9+.
9+.
You hear that, Kai? Because Kai does all my averages. All right, there you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Story out.
Steve out.
Out.